Quantum computing gets real. IBM says they'll deliver by 2029. One of the largest players in private equity says you either master AI or you're looking for work. Denmark gets serious about replacing all US software, and the great debate about the potential abilities of artificial intelligence. Welcome to #Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. IBM has announced a concrete timeline to deliver the world's first large-scale, fault-tolerant quantum computer by 2029, giving quantum computing new commercial credibility with a specific date for practical applications in drug discovery, materials science, and financial modeling. The system, called IBM Quantum Starling, will be built at a new quantum data center in Poughkeepsie, New York, and is expected to perform 20,000 times more operations than today's quantum computers. Starling will execute 100 million quantum operations using 200 logical qubits, with IBM's breakthrough quantum low-density parity check codes replacing physical qubit overhead by approximately 90% compared to other error correction methods. IBM is charting the next frontier in quantum computing, one that will solve real-world challenges and unlock immense possibilities for business. To represent Starling's computational state would require memory exceeding a quindecillion, 10 to the 48th power of today's most powerful supercomputers. It's a computational power capable of modeling complex molecular interactions for drug development and materials discovery that are impossible with classical computers. IBM laid out specific milestones leading to Starling. 2025, Starling will serve as the foundation for IBM Quantum Blue Jay, designed to execute 1 billion quantum operations with 2,000 logical qubits. The announcement represents a shift from theoretical quantum research to practical commercial timelines. By putting a specific date on fault-tolerant quantum computing, IBM is positioning itself to compete with Google's recent Willow chip breakthrough and quantum efforts by Microsoft and Amazon. Unlike current quantum computers that are prone to errors and require extreme cooling, fault-tolerant systems can run real-world applications reliably, potentially revolutionizing drug discovery, supply chain optimization, and financial risk analysis, among many more problems. Robert F. Smith, CEO of a $100 billion private equity firm Vista Equity Partners, delivered a stark warning at the world's largest private equity conference. Most finance professionals will be looking for work within a year as AI transforms the industry. Speaking to 5,500 attendees at Super Return International in Berlin, Smith expanded beyond finance, warning that all of the jobs currently carried out by 1 billion knowledge workers today would change due to AI. He clarified that while jobs won't disappear entirely, they will fundamentally transform. Vista manages over $100 billion in assets and specializes in enterprise software acquisitions, making Smith's firm a key implementer of the AI technologies he predicts will displace workers. The company recently launched an agentic AI factory platform to scale AI agents across its portfolio companies. Smith predicted AI will create two types of workers. He told Bloomberg, "You will have hyperproductive people in organizations, and you will have people who need to find other things to do." However, Smith emphasized business leaders' responsibility for workforce transition, calling on executives to make retraining a part of your ethos and advocating for proactive upskilling initiatives. Vista's business model, like all private equity, involves acquiring companies and implementing operational improvements, often including workforce reductions. As private equity firms focus on quick exits and operational efficiency, they're positioned to be among the fastest adopters of labor cost-reducing AI technologies. And as private equity continues to be a dominant force in the U.S. economy, it is certain to accelerate the push for AI to be adopted and used in companies across the U.S. and beyond. The broader European movement away from U.S.-controlled software has been building for some time. Germany recently announced plans for a Germany-stack sovereign digital ecosystem. Denmark, though, faces unique vulnerabilities that have accelerated its digital independence efforts. The catalyst was the Trump administration sanctions against the International Criminal Court prosecutor Karim Khan, which resulted in Microsoft blocking his official email access in February. The ICC sanctions were imposed by the U.S. after arrest warrants were issued for Israeli officials, and this effectively paralyzed parts of the court's operations. Because Microsoft did the unthinkable. They applied a U.S. order and cut off prosecutor Karim Khan's email access. That demonstrated how quickly American tech companies could cut off critical services at Washington's direction whenever someone offended the U.S. administration. This hit particularly close to home for Denmark, not only because it hosts the International Criminal Court in The Hague and has long supported international justice institutions, but also as President Trump has repeatedly stated his desire to acquire Greenland, with tensions between Denmark and the U.S. reaching historic highs over the issue. Copenhagen and Aarhus municipalities are now planning to phase out Microsoft 365 for Business and other Microsoft products from their government operations. Copenhagen Municipality, Denmark's largest employer with over 40,000 workers, cited financial concerns, monopoly dependence, and geopolitical climate as reasons. Copenhagen Audit Committee Chair Heinrich Appel Epperson told Danish newspaper Politiken, if, theoretically, relations with the U.S. were to deteriorate, you could be concerned that Microsoft would be forced to shut everything down. Aarhus has already begun transitioning, moving 60 systems to non-American platforms. And they've discovered a bonus. The head of digital services reported annual costs dropped from 800,000 kroner, about 122,000 US, to 225,000 kroner, or about 34,000 US, after switching to a German service provider. Danish municipal costs for Microsoft IT grew from about 313 million kroner, about $48 million in 2018, to 538 million kroner, $82 million in 2023. Danish officials are counting on not only turning around this increase, but also reducing the costs. Minister Carolyn Stage plans to begin gradually abandoning Microsoft products in her ministry this month, with half of the employees expected to use Linux instead of Windows and LibreOffice instead of Microsoft 365. Other European countries have talked about moving away from untrustworthy providers. Seeing how U.S. policy can instantly disconnect foreign governments from critical digital infrastructure could prompt broader European and possibly Canadian concerns about dependence on American tech companies that must comply with U.S. sanctions regardless of their international users' needs. Conflicting results from leading AI models are sparking fierce debate over whether artificial intelligence can truly reason or if it's much more limited but creates an illusion of reasoning. In light of recent developments, which have people referring not to large language models, but to large reasoning models, Apple researchers have thrown some cold water on this. They recently published 2 papers arguing that current AI models, including those like ChatGPT, will never achieve true reasoning. But at the same time, another demonstration by leading mathematicians had stunning results that suggest some models may be, if not approaching mathematical genius, at least exceeding human abilities. Apple's new research paper titled The Illusion of Thinking, Understanding the Strengths and Limitations of Reasoning Models via the Lens of Problem Complexity, directly challenges claims about AI reasoning capabilities. The research found that large reasoning models collapse under pressure and exhibit fundamental barriers to generalizable reasoning when faced with complex problems. According to the Apple study, through extensive experimentation across diverse puzzles, the frontier large reasoning models face a complete accuracy collapse beyond certain complexities. The researchers tested state-of-the-art models, including DeepSeek R1, OpenAI's O3 Mini, and Anthropic's Claude 3.7 Sonnet Thinking, using controlled puzzle environments. The study revealed 3 performance regimes. Standard, or earlier large language models, outperform the newer large reasoning models, or LRMs, at low complexity. LRMs excel at moderate complexity, but Apple's researchers maintain both collapse at high complexity. The models exhibit an overthinking phenomenon where reasoning abilities decline despite having adequate token budgets. In stark contrast to Apple's findings, a secretive May meeting in Berkeley revealed extraordinary mathematical capabilities in OpenAI's latest model. 30 renowned mathematicians reportedly gathered to test O4 Mini, a reasoning large language model, against problems they had designed specifically to challenge AI and which wouldn't have appeared in training data. According to reports, the University of Virginia mathematician Ken Ono watched in stunned silence as the model solved an expert-level number theory problem in just 10 minutes, working through the solution in real time. Ono said, "I have colleagues who literally said these models are approaching mathematical genius." The AI demonstrated human-like problem-solving behavior. The bot spent the first 2 minutes finding and mastering related literature in the field. Then it wrote on the screen that it wanted to try solving a simpler toy version of the question first in order to learn. And after presenting a correct solution, the model cheekily noted, "No citation necessary because the mystery number was computed by me." Still, other tests and demonstrations appear to show embarrassing weaknesses. Just weeks before the mathematical triumph, ChatGPT got absolutely wrecked on the beginner level by Atari Chess, a 1977 game running on hardware with a 1.19 megahertz processor. Citrix engineer Robert Caruso, who conducted the chess experiment, reported that ChatGPT made enough blunders to get laughed out of a third-grade chess club. ChatGPT made enough blunders to get laughed out of a third-grade chess club. The AI confused the rooks for bishops and repeatedly lost track of pieces despite playing against a chess engine that only thinks 1 to 2 moves ahead. Since IBM's AI defeated a world chess champion, Garry Kasparov, in 1997, chess has been a symbol of human-AI competition, despite the fact that Google's DeepMind defeated world champions in Go, a strategy game which is immensely more complex than chess. Apple's papers assert that AI models do not reason, they simulate the appearance of reasoning, claiming that models trained on large-scale data cannot transfer knowledge in ways humans do. Some researchers point to hybrid systems as evidence of progress towards something resembling human reasoning. The debate centers on whether current AI represents genuine reasoning or sophisticated pattern matching. But as quantum researcher and former OpenAI advisor Scott Aronson noted, people say GPT is just a next token predictor. It doesn't really learn or judge. But what are you? Just a bundle of neurons and synapses? The mathematical prowess demonstrated at Berkeley appears in formal benchmarks as well. Recent testing on the Frontier Math benchmark showed OpenAI's O3 model achieved a 25% score, a dramatic improvement from the previous standard where generative AIs were scoring just 2% on this benchmark. Frontier math problems are broken down into 3 tiers of difficulty, with the highest tiers requiring extensive specialized knowledge that make it unlikely that any one individual could solve every Tier 2 or Tier 3 problem. However, updated results released in April showed OpenAI O3 scored closer to 10%, rather than the originally reported 25%, highlighting the importance of careful benchmark validation. The conflicting evidence suggests AI capabilities remain unpredictable and perhaps domain-specific. For now, it appears AI's greatest strength, mimicking intelligence, is also its greatest liability. It can impress or fail spectacularly, depending on the domain, the task, and how you ask. These findings raise critical questions about deploying AI systems in high-stakes environments where consistent reasoning is essential. While AI models can demonstrate remarkable capabilities in specific contexts, their fundamental limitations in complex reasoning tasks suggest we may be far from the artificial general intelligence that industry leaders have predicted. And that's our show. We'd love to hear what you think about any of the stories. And you can reach us at editorial@technewsday.ca, or if you're watching this on YouTube, just drop a comment under the video. And if you're enjoying the shows, please consider going to buymeacoffee.com/techpodcast. That's buymeacoffee.com/techpodcast. And for the cost of a coffee and maybe a donut once a month, you can help offset the costs that we incur producing these podcasts. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a wonderful Wednesday.